Today, I'm going to show you from basic to more advanced 2 ways to make hoops with dangles in the middle. Hi, I'm Katie, and today we're going to be making 2 pairs of hoops with dangles in the middle. The first style I'm going to show you is more basic with just some memory wire and a simple dangle on a head pin in the center. And the second is a little bit more advanced using beads and regular wire to make the hoop and dangle. Let's go for the tools and materials we're going to need for these projects. You need a 1-step looper, a bail shaping plier to roll back the memory wire, a memory wire cutter, and also I'll use this as my flush cutter, 2 flat nose pliers. Here's the memory wire. This is the bracelet size. Some metal beads and some beads for the outside of the hoop. I also like to put some fun beads in the center of my hoop. Different size jump rings, ear wires, head pins, and 20 gauge wire. Okay, so here's the first more basic style of hoop with the dangle in the middle. We're gonna grab our memory wire and cut 2 segments exactly the same length. And remember when you're cutting memory wire to always use a special cutter, otherwise you'll ruin your flush cutter. This is a really great one that can be used for all other wire too. So just kind of space it out in your hand. And I usually cut a little bit less than one full rotation when I do this. It depends on the size hoop that you want, but I'm gonna cut it here. And then I'm going to cut another one just about the same length. And then I'll hold them up against each other to get a better exact measurement. Okay, so line those up and then cut the excess off here. And now you have 2 perfectly similar sized hoops. And the next step is to grab your bail shaping plier. You can also use a round nose plier if that's what you have at home. And you're going to work against the grain of the memory wire. Grab it really tight at the very end and roll it back towards you. So it looks like that. And do that on all 4 edges. Make sure they're all the way closed too. All right, now we're going to make our dangles that are gonna go in the center. So grab a couple of head pins and a fun focal bead. Drop it on your head pin. And I'm going to use my 1-step looper to make a loop on the top by sticking it through the tool out the other side, through this hole, and squeezing. So now I have a perfect little loop, and I'll do that once more. So now I have my 2 little dangles. And I'm just gonna reinforce those loops, make sure they're nice and closed with my flat nose plier. Hear the rain. And now we're ready to jump ring everything together. So for each earring, I like to have 2 smaller jump rings to connect to the loops and 1 bigger jump ring for the center. And it's gonna look something like this when we're done. So it's up to you what size jump ring you use. So grab your flat nose pliers, and first we're going to attach all 4 small jump rings to the 4 loops in the memory wire. Just twist those open and close them back. Okay, and the other one as well. Okay, and the final step is going to be grabbing this 6mm jump ring and opening that up. And then you're going to slide on one of the smaller jump rings you just attached, and then your little dangle you made, and then the other small jump ring, and then also your ear wire. And then close that jump ring up. And there you go. And I can show you just one more time. With this one jump ring, you're going to connect everything together. Ta-da! Just a tip, it's important to think about the order in which you do that last step. So when you open up your largest jump ring, you're gonna attach the small left jump ring, then your dangle, then your right small jump ring, and then your ear wire on top, and then you can close it. Now that you've seen a simple way to do those hoops, let's get a little bit more advanced. We're gonna start with 20 gauge wire. This is 20 gauge German style wire. And I'm just gonna cut 2 pieces. Next, using my 1-step looper, I'm going to make a loop on one side of both pieces. So just stick it through your tool and squeeze. And you want your loop to be going this direction, in line with your wire going this way. And then this is going to be the basis for our hoop. Okay, so now we're gonna string on the beads that we want. This is just a little color palette I thought was pretty. You can do metal beads in there. You can do random color scheme. You can do whatever you want, but just string your little pattern. And when you're done, I'll show you what to do next. So now that I've got my pattern strung, you can see there's my one loop down here. I'm going to use my 1-step looper and make a loop over here. So it doesn't really matter if your pieces are exactly the same length when you start. This is the step that will even them out and make them the same, just as long as you have the same exact pattern on both pieces. So just hold it in your hand, grab your looping plier and stick the tail through the tool, and make sure that your loop is going the same direction as your first one. And it makes a perfect loop, like so. And I'll go ahead and do that to my next one as well. Next, we're gonna make our dangle. And I'm gonna use some smaller beads for this design. I'm gonna start with this turquoise bead, do a metal bead, and just kind of bring out the pattern that's on the other part of the earring into the dangle. And then once again with my one-step looper, I'm gonna loop the top of that head pin. Okay, so just like the other hoop I showed you, this one is all put together with one jump ring. So I'm gonna use these 6mm jump rings to connect it all together. Grab your flat nose pliers. You can also use a chain nose if you prefer. And open up the jump ring by twisting, boom. And then slide on one side of your 20 gauge, then your little dangle, and then the other side of your 20 gauge, and then your ear wire. And there you go. And also, if you have trouble holding it together, you can always open and close the links on your dangle or on your 20 gauge or on your ear wire and just take it piece by piece. There you go. All right, so this is what they turned out like, and I think they're really fun, and I love how easy they were to make. All right, so let's go back over the tools and supplies used in this project. We used memory wire, a memory wire cutter, and a bell shaping plier, jump rings, a one-step looper, 2 flat nose pliers, 20 gauge wire, and beads of all sizes. We also used ear wires and head pins. If you need to pick up any of the tools or supplies we used today, check out the links below. What other kinds of hoops would you like to see us make? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Thanks so much for watching.